You're listening to the Icandemy Podcast, the podcast for people who can but don't know how. This is where you get actionable steps to turn vague dreams into blissful realities. And I'm your host, Omoshola Victoria Wolabi. So let's get started. Do you ever think to yourself, I want to be able to impact lives, leave an imprint in this world, but you feel isolated, stuck, unclear on how to show up or get started? If you've answered yes to this question, I want to extend a very special invitation to you to join us on our upcoming workshop, the Courageous Confidence Workshop. This workshop is live, where we get to work together on that call so that you can crack the confidence code, awaken your inner giant, show up authentically, and attract your tribe. Head on over to offers.icandemy.org/courageous. Again, it's offers.icandemy.org/courageous. You'll find the links in the show notes below. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Icandemy Podcast. I'm super excited that you're here once again. Thank you so much for tuning in week after week after week after week. I do not take that for granted. On today's episode, we're going to be continuing our conversation around how we develop our mindset, right? 2 episodes ago, I actually touched on this and I shared that there are 3 ways that I know that I have observed that we develop our mindsets. Number 1 is family, our genetic conditioning, what we are predisposed to. Most times, there's really not much we can do about the family, right? Another way that we develop our mindset is society, the environment that we find ourselves, how things are done. The 3rd way is through our life experiences and events that happen as we grow up. And we're going to dissect each of these into simpler terms because I want us to understand. I want us to be able to reflect and look at our lives and see which of these factors are actually at play in the results that we have today. So stay with me as we go on this journey together. Now, let's start from the family. The family is a place where we first experience human interaction and socialization. Our family are our greatest influencers in our lives because those are the people that are closest to us. And research has shown that our early family experiences often re-emerge in our adult lives. Have you ever found yourself saying, I'm actually behaving in a way that my mom behaved that I did not like? I say that to myself all the time, like, wait, your mom used to do that and you're doing the exact same thing, right? That's because our early family experiences often re-emerge in our adult life interactions. The initial influence of our families actually affect our life outcomes, like our identity, our career, how we handle our finances, who we get married to. We actually see this in, for example, I'm Nigerian, right? In Nigerian families, I know it's changing right now, but you see this, that Nigerian families only encourage their children to be either doctors, lawyers, or engineers, full stop. And I also, there was a time I worked with a colleague of mine. We used to work together. And one day she came to me, she confided in me and said, you know what? I'm dating this guy, from a Chinese culture. And my parents are against it. She was from a different culture. My parents are against this because they feel like we're not supposed to. The Chinese people are known for kind of affluent, and people like us don't marry into rich families. Imagine that. And just because of that mindset, they were against who she was dating. The guy did not do anything wrong to her parents. He had not done anything out of the ordinary for them to suspect that this guy was not a good guy. The only reason is we don't marry into rich families. People like us don't go there, so to speak. So stay in your lane, right? And this is how our family actually influences the outcome that we have in our lives. And we also see these biblical examples as well. If we look at Genesis 29, verse 26, right? You will see that this family dynamics also played out there as well. you'll see that this dynamics also plays out in the Bible. So it's not just, this is something that's been from ages past. In Genesis 29:26, it says that this is in the story of when Jacob wanted to marry Rachel. And Laban responds and says to him, "It is not our custom here to give the younger daughter in marriage before the older one." Who made that rule? Who came up with that rule? Who came up with that rule? But we see here that that mentality, that family dynamics, that influence actually contributed in the way Jacob's life played out eventually, because he was kind of forced into polygamy, come to think of it, right? He had to go and then marry Leah as well before he was allowed to marry Rachel, because of the family dynamics and how things were done in their family. So that is why the family is a big contributing factor into how we grow up, the way our life plays out, the way our mindset is formed, right? It has a huge influence, very huge influence in how things are done. But the good news is we can change it. We can change it. That's the good news. So we talked about family. And let's look at another example in the Bible, Joshua 24:15. And Joshua said, "But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods, small g, of your ancestors, or the gods, small g, of the Amorites in whose land you're living. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord," big G, right? So you can see from Joshua's response here that there had been a pattern in the family dynamics, in even as far as to their religion and the God that they worshipped, right? There's a pattern that has always occurred. But he decided, in this instance, I am going to take a stand and I'm going to do things differently. So that is how our family dynamics can impact our mindset and the way we think and the results that we have. So let's pause for a moment. I want you to start to question. Actually grab a pen and paper and say, these things that I do, why am I doing it this way? Where did I pick it up from? Chances are you are doing some things because that's how your family has always done it. And you have never had the chance to question why they do it that way. I know there's a story I read one time, I don't know if it was on social media or somewhere, and it was about this lady who always cut the end of the ham whenever she wanted to bake it. And her daughter asked her, "Mom, why do you always cut off the end of the ham before you bake it?" And she said, "Because that's how my mom always did it." The daughter goes to her grandmother and says, "Mom, why do we always cut off the end of the ham before we bake it?" Her grandma said, "Because that's how my mother did it. So her great-grandmother did it that way." And it took the daughter to question that, to say, wait, so there is no particular reason why we just carry on this behavior from generation to generation, because that's how it's always been done. So our family is a huge influence on how we develop our mindset. Okay, family, let's face it, we've all felt pain. We've suffered the losses. You know what it's like to want something so bad, but not see a path to its accomplishment. The question, however, is, do you know how to pick yourself up and move on despite what has happened? This is what I share with you inside of my new book, Good Medicine for the Crushed Spirit, a practical guide to helping you find purpose when adversity strikes. Inside this book, you will find personal stories, relatable biblical tales, and anecdotes that prove you are never alone in your despair and will inspire you to turn pain, discomfort, disappointment, or setbacks into something positive that works for you. So if you're ready to change your life in meaningful and purposeful ways, get your copy of this book today and let the transformation begin. The next one I want to touch on is society, which is an environmental factor. Our society is the it's the major, I don't know if the English word to use, but it is higher in hierarchy than our family, because we are constantly exposed to that environment, right? And the family is in the society. So the society here is in a larger context, right? Our society influences our mindset so much because we are constantly exposed to that environment. And this is what God saw. when he said, "It is not good for man to be alone," and God made him a helper, Eve, because we are societal creatures. We are designed to be social. Aristotle was correct when he wrote, and he says, man is a social creature. We function best within a societal construct. So society is a big influence in how we develop our mindset. And let's just define what a society is, just for context, right? It says a society or human society is a group of people that are involved with each other through persistent relations or a large social grouping sharing the same geographical or social territory, typically subject to the same political authority or dominant cultural expectations. This is what a society is. We are all the same group of people in simpler English, right? Same group of people. We live in the same geographical location. Oftentimes, we're subject to the same political authority. And oftentimes, we have the same dominant cultural expectations. There may be some subtle differences here and there, but there's a general overlying theme, culture of how things are done. I know in Nigeria, there are so many tribes, over 200 languages are spoken. However, there's a dominant cultural expectation, even in a large society like that, right? So because of that, societal interactions actually helps us learn the concept of ourself, who we are. This is so important because we have seen, I've read stories about, I think it was a trial or an experiment of children who were raised in total isolation. They were kept in the basement, they were fed under the door without any social interaction, and these children were found to have no concept of self. They had no ability to talk or communicate, nor could they even reason or conceptualize past animal instincts. That is how powerful our society is on the way we develop our sense of self and our mindset, right? Our society shapes who we are, and then collectively we turn around and we shape society through the evolution of our identities and the influence that we have on each other. That's why social media is a big influence now in this world that we live in today, in how we form our identity, our mental construct, our mindset. We do things because people are doing it. We do things because it is popular. We do things because people like it. People follow it. What about you? What do you like? What do you want? Who are you? Apart from what is popular on social media. So society is another powerful construct that shapes our mindset, and it does this through a process of similarities, differences, and demarcations. For example, ideas of beauty. What is the model of beauty? What do people accept to be beautiful? Is that really what beauty is? We don't know, but we follow what is popular. Another example, how success is defined. We see people on social media flaunting wads of cash, flaunting what they ate for breakfast, what they ate for lunch. You see them in the gym, exercising, because they want to appear to be successful. Why? Society has constructed success around those factors. So we have societal expectations around race, beauty, class, financial status, all those things, all of these factors, all of these societal factors shape our mindset and how we perceive ourselves, our purpose, and our abilities. So I want you to find out today, what are some of the things that you are doing that have been influenced by society? And this one may take you a minute, right? What are some things that you believe regarding beauty, wealth, race, class? Are they really your original thoughts, or have they been influenced by societal expectations? That's another assignment for you. Now let's continue. Because at the end of the day, we are not who society says we are, but what we make of ourselves based on the continuous transformation of our mind. You have to keep evolving your mind way beyond what society says is cool and popular. That is how you really understand if this thought is your own thoughts. Let me give you an experiment I did a while ago. I turned off my social media. I never went to social media. I never went to Instagram, nothing. I just listened to my own thoughts. I wanted to understand these things I think about, these things I want, these things I desire. Are they truly what I want, or do I just want them because society says it's cool to have them? Food for thought. I want you to think about the same thing today. What do you want? Why do you want the things you want? Exactly. I paused there for a moment so you can think about that as well. Now let's move on to the third thing. The third factor that shapes and develops our mindset is our life experiences. Our personal experiences hold a lot of power and influence over our mindset. So if you've experienced failure before, part of your mind will fear failure. You will see yourself as a failure sometimes, forgetting that that experience is exactly what it is, an experience, right? It's not a lifetime conclusion. It's just an experience, right? Because our perception of situations is largely based on our experience. Have you ever tried to do something new before and somebody says, hey, don't do that because the last time somebody did that, this is what happened. Exactly. And it puts a pause in your steps. I remember when I moved to New Zealand and I was super excited. I was like, oh, I used to be a career advisor in my last role in South Africa. So when I moved here, I was like, oh, I'm just going to continue along the path. I'm going to work at a university because I love to educate people. I love to empower people. That's the thread that has always run through my career, right? So I was like, yes, I'm going to get a job at a college. I'm going to continue what I love to do. I'm going to advise people. I'm going to help people, get into good careers. And somebody just said, there is no space for people like us in this society. I mean, people like us have the caregiving jobs, the cleaning jobs, and nothing against caregivers or cleaners, nothing against that, because the pandemic should have taught us now that those are the most important people in society. But the perspective at which this person was coming from was just put a pause on your dream, because that dream is not about to manifest in this society. Because of their own life experiences, you see. This person who said that was projecting his experiences on me to say because he could not continue what he loved to do, therefore, I will not be able to do it over here. All right? Because the perception, our perception of situation is largely based on our experiences. And those experiences can either serve as a ladder that helps us climb and soar, or a slippery slope that slides us to the basement of a defeated life. I'm going to say that again. Our experiences can either serve as a ladder that helps us climb and soar, or as a slippery slope that slides us to the basement of a defeated life. So I want you to examine your life experiences today. And I know that life can be unfair sometimes. A lot of us have gone through so much, so many things that you can't even start to mention. But here's what I want you to know. That if you carefully examine even those seemingly painful things in life, we will be able to extract the lessons, and we will know that those experiences were not designed to defeat us, but to position us as an authority on the things that we have overcome so that we can help other people. I share a lot of stories on this podcast because I want to help somebody navigate their lives as well. Even those unpleasant experiences have something to teach us. And I know sometimes when you think about those unpleasant experiences, it can trigger a feeling of unworthiness. But this should not deter you, but to spur you into action to say, I am going to succeed because of what I've been through. That is what gives me life. That is my fuel. That is my fuel, because the process is the prize, not the accomplishment. The process is the prize. The process of becoming who God has created us to be is the prize. The reward is more about who we become in the process of becoming. Our goal should be to extract the lessons from every experience into a priceless gift that can help move ourselves and others higher. And I want you to know that every experience that you have is because you are being prepared for a purpose. And on this note, I'm going to say until the next episode, Keep on Shining, where we're going to talk about more about being prepared for a purpose on the very next episode. Whoop, I'm super excited. Now, before you run off, head on over to www.icandemy.org and leave me a voice note. Let me know which was the most valuable part for you. Or if you're listening to this, take a screenshot of your podcast app and share this on Instagram, tagging me at VICTOWOLABI. Tag me and I'll reshare this on my story. Let me know what is the nugget you took away from this episode. And until the next episode, keep on shining. This episode is sponsored by our very own Mogul Mindset Training. Are you ready to embrace new experiences, see opportunities where you thought there was none, and totally surprise yourself? Because you can by unleashing the power of your mind. Mogul Mindset System is a 5-step system that helps you retrain your mind to work with you and not against you, so you can awaken your inner giant, 10x your impact, your income, and become truly unstoppable. The truth is, you, my friend, have a superpower, your creative genius. And I'm here to make that power multiply manyfold so you can get past fear, self-doubt, and finally start working and thriving in your life and business. Ready to unleash your superpowers? I thought you would. Head over to mogul.icandemy.org. That's mogul.icandemy.org to learn more. So there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And for more content like this, follow us on our social media handles. On Facebook, it's at Icandemy, the Facebook page. On Instagram, it's at Icandemy. Or come say hello over on my personal page. On Instagram, it's at Omoshola Speaks. On Facebook, it's Victoria Wolabi. Feel free to reach out, introduce yourself, say hello. I love meeting you. And if you have any stories that you feel will inspire another woman to action, I want to hear from you. I really do. I love hearing from you. Send me an email to hello@icandemy.org. So it's hello@icandemy.org.